I've just been given a sneak preview of the most extraordinarily touching film that I've seen for a while, by Caolan Robertson. It's a film about the farmers of Kherson, and even in the green farmlands of Ukraine's Kherson region, the threat of war hangs like an unseen haze. Caolan Robertson's latest documentary begins with a quiet, almost pastoral image, a daughter on a horse, and then talking about her father. And we see home movies, and within minutes that serenity is shattered as she explains how a Russian kamikaze drone swept in and her father's improvised drone deflector failed and he was killed. Robertson never lingers voyeuristically on death because, but he begins here to make a moral point that war has reached the most elemental human act of growing food. And I was recently reading about a farmer called Alexander, who was determined to return to his land after liberation in Kherson. I cannot say whether the two are the same, but the stories rhyme: stubborn love for the soil and the courage to reclaim it despite mines, drones and shelling. And Robertson's structures his film like a journey from fragility to fierce resistance and fierce resilience. The first act shows how under Russian control Kherson's agricultural lifeblood was looted, smashed, grain elevators burned, irrigation pipes stolen, barns booby-trapped. 90% of farms in the right bank of the Kherson region were destroyed or disabled. And farmers came back, the return and the risk, as they came back as the Ukrainian army pushed the Russians over the Dnieper. They ploughed the mined fields, the cratered roads repaired, shattered irrigation networks replaced. They work, sometimes making their own safe paths with sticks and coloured tape. This is about reclaiming production. Robertson follows families rebuilding and replanting watermelons, sunflowers, wheat. And this is what hundreds of farmers across Ukraine are doing. One scene shows a tractor driver calmly steering, and there would be shell craters, drones buzzing above. The film ends on Kherson watermelons, iconic fruit in Ukraine, piled high for shipment, and a sort of cheeky grin from an old lady. It's commerce and quiet defiance. To grow and sell is to say that we are still here. There are themes here which Caolan has been pushing for a while about the ordinary heroism of Ukrainians. Caolan avoids the grandiose war movie tropes. His farmers are not saints. They are practical, humorous, sometimes exhausted people. Their heroism is persistence, clearing mines with borrowed detectors, fixing shattered tractors, keeping staff paid. But the land is their identity. They're not abstract patriots. They are people whose lives are literally bound to the soil, and leaving it would mean losing themselves. And the film hints at the deep agrarian nationalism, not the flag-waving kind, but the quiet rootedness. And the home movies that show Alexander before the war with his daughter, so touching. And then his daughter relates the story of his death. Robertson makes space for laughter, but for the most part it's a it's an intensely moving account of resilience and determination, of families cooking, survival with dignity. And he shoots with calm, long takes of fields scarred by shelling with determined tractors. And the sound design mixes the pastoral with this extraordinary collection of quite soothing music. There's no bombastic score. It's this soothing soundtrack that makes the resilience more luminous, I think. Cherson's black soil once helped feed the Middle East and Africa. Its destruction is a warning about how fragile the world's breadbasket can be when autocracy wages war. And philosophically, the film asks whether it's better to flee or to hold the ground. And these farmers have chosen to stay, not out of naivety, but out of duty to community and to the land. And in an era where headlines reduce war to politics and sound bites and troop movements, Caolan Robertson gives us faces and fields. It's a reminder that history is written by those who plant in shell-scarred soil. His documentary is not sentimental propaganda. It is testimony. It begins with the story of the death of one man, Alexander, and it ends with thousands of tons of food that will roll into the market despite the drones and the artillery. It's about work as defiance, farming as an act of national survival and hope that is neither naive nor cheap. In a war too often told in the language of tanks and missiles, Robertson returns us to the first human economy, seed, soil and bread. And he shows that even under Russian brutality, Cherson's farmers can still coax life from a ravaged land, and in doing so, feed both a nation and the world's belief in endurance.